Okay, so we have to solve this inequality. So let's look at the single inequalities, right? Single inequalities. So we have 6 into bracket x minus 1 less than or equal to 2 into bracket x plus 1 minus 12, right? So like we said, the first thing you have to do is to expand all the brackets. So in expanding this bracket, you are going to have 6x minus 6 is less than or equal to, when you expand this bracket, you would get 2x plus 2 and then minus 12. The next thing is to group like terms, right? So I have 6x here. I want to bring this 2x to the left side so that it would come and add up to the 6x. So because it is positive here, when it crosses and comes to the left side, it becomes negative. So you have 6x minus 2x. Now I would want to take this negative 6 to the right side. Because it's negative, when it crosses and comes to the right side, it becomes positive. So for the right side, I'm going to have 2 minus 12 plus 6. 6x minus 2x gives us 4x. So 4x is less than or equal to 2 minus 12 plus 6 gives us negative 4. Right? So we are going to have 4x is less than or equal to negative 4. Of course, we want to find the value of x. So we divide both sides by the coefficient of x, which is 4. So we are going to have 4x divided by 4 less than or equal to negative 4 divided by 4. So this 4 cancels this 4, leaving us with x. Negative 4 divided by 4 gives us negative 1. So we are going to have x is less than or equal to negative 1. Right, so that is how simple it is. It is just as you are solving a linear equation. Right. Okay, let's look at this question too. So we have to find the truth set of the inequality 2x plus 1 all over 3 minus 3x minus 1 all over 2 is less than or equal to 0. Right? So whenever you have a fraction, like we saw under linear equations, whenever you have a fraction, you are supposed to multiply it through by the LCM so as to get rid of the denominators. Right? So here the LCM becomes 6. So you're going to multiply each term by the LCM 6. So you're going to have 6 multiplying the expression 2x plus 1 all over 3 minus 6 multiplying the expression 3x minus 1 all over 2 less than or equal to 6 multiplying 0. So 3 will cancel or will divide 6 2 times. So for this expression, we are going to have 2 into bracket 2x plus 1. Now 2 divides 6 3 times. So for this second expression, we are going to have minus 3 into bracket 3x minus 1 less than or equal to 6 times 0 gives us 0. Right? A number multiplied by 0 is 0. So the next thing is to expand this bracket. Right? So we are going to have 4x plus 2. Right? So that is for the first bracket here. Then we'll come to this second bracket here. Now let's take note of something here with respect to the operations. Negative 3 times 3x gives us negative 9x. Negative 3 times negative 1 will give us positive 3. Right? So when a negative number multiplies another negative number, it gives you a positive product. So negative times negative is positive. Right? So bear in mind that this negative 3 is multiplying everything in the bracket. So it is negative 3 times 3x, that is negative 9x, and negative 3 times negative 1, so that gives you plus 3, positive 3, right? Less than or equal to 0. So the next thing obviously is to group like terms, right? So we have, okay, in fact all the x are at one side, so let's rather move the constant or the numbers to the right side. So we have 4x minus 9x is less than or equal to 0. We are going to move this positive 2 to the right. So because it's plus, when it comes here it becomes negative 2. This 3 2, because it's plus, when it comes to the right side it becomes negative 3. Right? So what is 4x minus 9x? It is negative 5x. is less than or equal to 0 minus 2 minus 3 gives us negative 5. Alright, so since we want to find the value of x, let's divide through by the coefficient, which is what? Which is negative 5. Right? The coefficient is negative 5. Right? So you're supposed to divide this negative 5x by negative 5. Oh, sorry, I'm supposed to attach negative to this 5, right? So let me quickly do it. Okay, let me quickly do it. So I'm supposed to attach a negative. So it's supposed to be something like this. Yeah, okay. Alright, so let's move on. Alright, so we have, okay, so we have negative 5x divided by negative 5 is less than or equal to negative 5 divided by negative 5. So like I told you, whenever you are dividing both sides by a negative coefficient, the direction of the inequality would turn to the opposite direction. Right, so it would change. So here, because it was less than or equal to, the moment we divide through by the negative coefficient, it becomes greater than or equal to. Right? So negative 5 over negative 5 gives us positive 1. So our final answer becomes x is greater than or equal to positive 1. Right? So we were asked to find the truth set. So therefore the truth set is x such that x is greater than or equal to positive 1. So this is how you write your final answer. Right? This is how you write your final answer. So take note of this rule. So the moment you divide through by negative coefficient, the inequality will turn to the opposite direction. So as you can see, this less than or equal to became greater than or equal to. Right? So that is that for single inequalities. So let's look at double inequalities. Double inequalities. So we have to solve 4 is less than 2 into bracket x minus 3 less than 6. Right, so now in solving double inequalities, there are two approaches, there are two methods that you can use. Right, so let's look at the first method. So what I did here was to expand this bracket. So 4 less than, when you expand this bracket, you're going to get 4 less than 2x minus 6 less than 6. Right, so now the first method in solving the double inequalities, you will take each inequality and treat it separately. Right, so in fact we can segregate this inequality into two different aspects. So we can have 4 is less than 2x minus 6 as one inequality, and 2x minus 6 is less than 6 as a separate inequality. But then in both cases we have to make sure that the variable is present. The variable must be what? Must be present. Right, so we are going to take this first one. So 4 is less than 2x minus 6. We are going to solve. Right, so in solving, of course you are supposed to group like terms. Right, so you are going to have, so this negative 6 will cross to the left side and become plus. So it's going to be 4 plus 6 is less than 2x. Right, so 4 plus 6 gives us 10. So we have 10 is less than 2x, or 2x is greater than 10. Then we divide both sides by the 2. So we are going to have 5 is less than x, or x is greater than 5. Right, so that's how you are going to read it. X is greater than 5. So we are done with the first part. So let's come to the second part of the inequality. So we are going to solve 2x minus 6 is less than 6. So here too we are going to group like terms. So we are going to move this negative 6 to the right side, right? So we are going to have 2x is less than 6 plus 6, and then that gives us 2x is less than 12. We divide through by the 2, we are going to have x is less than 6, right? So the result of solving 4 is less than 2x minus 6 was 5 less than x, or x is greater than 5. And the result of solving 2x minus 6 is less than 6 gave us x being less than 6. So the next thing is to merge the two inequalities, put the two inequalities together, right? So the x is going to appear in the middle, x is going to appear in the middle, and then we are going to place the two inequalities side by side, right? So the first one was x is greater than 5, and then we just add it to x is less than 6, right? So you just measure the two, you just put the two inequalities together. I believe you get it. Okay, let's look at the second alternative, or the second method of solving this double inequality. So we have 4 less than 2 into bracket x minus 3 less than 6. So here too I decided to expand the bracket. So I had 4 less than 2x minus 6 less than 6. Now another way of solving double inequalities is by making the expression in between the two inequalities, making it contain only the variable. What I mean is that if there is any number that is attached to the variable, we have to eliminate it. Right? You have to eliminate it so that it will be left with only that variable, and perhaps with its coefficient. Right? So the expression in the middle here, that is the expression in between the two inequality sign, is 2x minus 6. 2x minus 6. So the best thing we can do is to eliminate this negative 6 so that it will be left with only the 2x. So the 2x must stand alone in between the two inequalities. So how can we eliminate this negative 6? By adding 6 to it. But then the moment you add 6 to the expression in the middle, you have to do same for all the three sides. So you have to, if I'm adding 6 to the middle part, I have to add 6 to the left part and also add 6 to the right part, right? So I'm going to add 6 to every term, right? So when I pick this 4, I'm going to add 6 to it. So we are going to have 4 plus 6. And then the middle section, so I'm going to add 6 to everything. So it's going to be 2x minus 6 plus 6. And then the last section, I'm going to add 6 to it as well, right? So that 2x minus 6 plus 6, now this negative 6 will cancel out this positive 6 here, leaving us with only 2x, right? So our objective is to make x stand alone in the middle, right? That is our main objective in adding the plus 6 to all the sides. Now it is not all the time that you add here, because the number was negative. That is why we added the same number to it, because if you have a negative number and you want to eliminate that negative number, just use the positive form of that number. Just add the positive form of that number to it. So if I have negative 2 and I want to eliminate it, I'll just add plus 2 to it. If I have negative 10, I want to eliminate it, or I want to make it 0, I'll just add positive 10 to it, right? So yeah, because it was negative 6 and we wanted to eliminate it, we added 6 to it. And by adding 6 to the middle section, we will add 6 to all the other sections. That's why we added 6 to the 4 and we added 6 to the 6 here as well, right? So if the number were to be positive, assuming it was 2x plus 6, you would have subtracted 6 from all the sections, right, so that you eliminate the positive 6, right. So the main motive is to eliminate the number that is attached to the variable, right. Okay, so let's come back to our question. So here we are going to have 4 plus 6 giving us 10. The middle section will give us 2x, and then the last section will give us 12. Now we want to make x stand alone, or right. So here it's not supposed to be 2x, it's supposed to be only x. So what do? We divide through by the coefficient of x, which is 2. So it's going to be 10 over 2 less than 2x over 2 less than 12 over 2, right. So in the end, 10 over 2 gives us 5, 12 over 2 gives us 6, 2x over 2 gives us x. So we're going to have x is greater than 5 but less than 6, just as we had here, right. So these are the two methods of solving double inequalities, right. So either you break down the double inequalities into two separate single inequalities. Afterwards, you just merge the two inequalities into one, or you eliminate the number that is attached to the x, right, by either adding or subtracting, depending on the operation in front of the number. So here, because it was -6, we added 6 to all the numbers, right. So that is how you can solve double inequalities. So let's take another example. Okay, so we have to solve -1/2 less than or equal to 1/5 into bracket 4 minus 2x less than or equal to 1/2. Alright, so here to the first thing is multiply through by the LCM, so as to get rid of the denominators, right. So the LCM here clearly is 10. So we're going to have 10 multiplying the expression -1/2 less than or equal to 10 multiplying the expression 1/5 into brackets 4 minus 2x less than or equal to 10 multiplying the expression 1/2. Right, so 2 cancels, or 2 divides 10 5 times. So we are going to end up with -5. 5 cancels or divides 10 2 times. So we're going to end up with 2 multiplying the expression 4 minus 2x less than or equal to, so 2 divides itself 1, divides 10 5 times, and 5 times 1 is 5. So we're going to have -5 less than or equal to 2 into bracket 4 minus 2x less than or equal to 5. Then you will expand the bracket here, right. So in expanding, you're going to have -5 is less than or equal to 8 minus 4x less than or equal to 5. So with the first method, like we just saw, you can decide to split this into two separate inequalities. Right, so we can decide to have -5 less than or equal to 8 minus 4x as one inequality, and then 8 minus 4x less than or equal to 5 as another inequality, and then we'll solve them separately. Afterwards, we are going to combine them. We are going to put them together, right. So let's start with the first one. So here we can decide to bring this 8 to the left side so that it becomes negative. So we are going to have -5 minus 8 less than or equal to -4x. So -5 minus 8 gives us -13 less than or equal to -4x. Then we divide both sides by -4, right. So we are going to have -13 over -4, and that gives us +13/4. But because we divided through by a negative coefficient, this inequality sign is going to turn to the opposite direction. So instead of the open end facing the x, it's going to be the pointed end facing the x. So in the end, you are going to have x is less than or equal to 13/4. X is less than or equal to 13/4. Right. So because we divided through by a negative coefficient, that is why we changed the inequality sign here. I believe you are seeing it. Okay. So let's look at the second section of the inequality. So we have 8 minus 4x is less than or equal to 5. So here too I decided to move the 8 to the right side. So I had negative 4x is less than or equal to 5 minus 8. So I had negative 4x is less than or equal to negative 3. Then of course you divide through by the negative 4. So you're going to have negative 4x divided by negative 4 less than or equal to negative 3 divided by negative 4. So negative 3 over negative 4 gives us positive 3 over 4. But because once again we divided through by a negative coefficient, this inequality sign will change. It will turn. So here it became x is greater than or equal to 3 over 4. So afterwards you are going to put the two inequalities together, right? So you have x in the middle. So the first one was x is less than or equal to 13 over 4, as you can see here, and the second one was x is greater than or equal to 3 over 4. So that is what you are also seeing here. Alternatively, you can decide to eliminate the number that is attached to the x in the middle section here, right? So after multiplying through by the LCM and expanding this bracket, we are going to have negative 5 less than or equal to 8 minus 4x less than or equal to 5, just as we had here. Okay, now we want to eliminate this 8 in the middle here. So what do we do? We just have to subtract 8 from every number, right? So we subtracted 8 from negative 5, we subtracted 8 from the middle section, and then we subtracted 8 from the 5 here. So in the end we had negative 5 minus 8 less than or equal to 8 minus 8, so that we get rid of this 8, because we said another way of solving this is to eliminate the number that is attached to the x component in the middle section, right? So that it will be left with only the x with its coefficient, right? So finally here you are going to have 5 minus 8. So negative 5 minus 8 gives us negative 13. Now this 8 cancels this negative 8, right, leaving us with negative 4x less than or equal to negative 3. So the next thing is to divide through by negative 4, so that it will be left with only the x. So we are going to divide negative 13 by negative 4, divide negative 4x by negative 4, and divide negative 3 by negative 4 as well. Now the rule still applies here. Once you are dividing through by a negative coefficient, the inequality sign must change. So here, after dividing through by the negative 4, these two inequalities will change the opposite sign, right? So here it was x is greater than or equal to, but because we divided through by negative 4, it will turn. So it becomes x being less than or equal to 13 over 4. This one too will change and becomes x is greater than or equal to 3 over 4, right? So please take note of this particular principle as far as inequalities are concerned. Take note of this key principle. Alright, so this is where we bring the lesson to an end. I believe you understood everything perfectly, right? So thank you for your audience, and until I see you in the next lesson, have a nice day. Bye bye.